Thank you for joining us today for a fireside chat with Ed Gillespie, Chief Executive Officer of Houston American Energy Corp. That's ticker HUSA. I'm Peter Gastreich, Energy Transition and Sustainable Investing Analyst at Water Tower Research. I'd like to remind our participants that our discussion could include forward-looking statements as of today, September 17th, 2025. HUSA's disclosures regarding such forward-looking statements can be found under the Investor Relations tab of the company's corporate homepage. This fireside chat is an open access forum for investors, analysts, and stakeholders, and is being recorded and can be accessed later via Water Tower Research's website. With that, we'll move on to the company. So on July 1st, 2025, Husa completed its acquisition of Abundia Global Impact Group, creating a public company focused on converting waste plastics into high-value drop-in low-carbon fuels and chemical products. The management team from Abundia is leading the new company and embarking on the development of an innovation hub and plastics recycling venture on the Gulf Coast of Texas. From the company, I'd like to welcome CEO Ed Gillespie. Ed, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us and taking the time today.
Thanks, Peter. I'm glad to be here.
So Ed, let's just dive right into it here. I'd like to kick off by asking about your path into Abundia and how the company was formed.
Yeah, well, to talk about Abundia, I need to talk about the relationship that I've had with the Bauer family office for the past 5 years. So Abundia Financial was born from that relationship. I know Kevin for a long time. We've worked together in various projects, and I had a suite of ideas or technologies that I wanted to bring to market, and we needed a vehicle that would be the parent as such to provide the capital for the development of those technologies. And that's where Abundia Financial was born out of. Abundia Global Impact Group, which is Husa's now company, was specifically set up for targeting the renewable markets and the opportunities that we had identified in those markets, waste to value essentially. So Abundia Financial funded Abundia Global Impact Group to carry out the vetting of the opportunities, to do all the testing, to identify partners in the market that would be interested in being our partners for the projects, for feedstock, engineering, design, and of course, offtake. And when that was all put together, then we felt that this was the next practical stage.
Okay, so let's move on to the management team and board. How did that all come together?
Yeah, so the opportunity is only ever as good as the people that are in charge of it, right? And that's where I have always learned in my career that you put the best people around the best opportunity and hopefully you get the best outcome. So Joe Gassick, who's our COO, was one of the founders of Abundia Financial alongside myself and Kevin. Joe has a long history working for GE Transportation and UBS Wealth Management. He has scaled companies from an idea to 100 employees over his time, no problem, and has managed billions of dollars through those processes. So Joe's our COO, and he's more than capable and adequate at running this company alongside our development team. Now, Lucy Howard, our CFO, Lucy was the ex-CFO for Aer Lingus, which is the Irish national airline. And I can safely say it took me either 18 months to 24 months to convince Lucy to give up her corporate position at a national airline to come and join a startup. But she's here over 3 years now, and she is exactly the person that we wanted to recruit for the position. She's thorough, she does a great job, and we're just lucky to have her here. With regards to the board, go ahead, Peter, sorry.
No, sorry, go ahead.
So with regards to the board, I'm a firm believer in having a board that contributes. So the board must have one of the three W's as I see it. They must be able to work, they must have wisdom, or they must have access to wealth. So all of our board members fit one of those criteria directly, or they wouldn't be at the table. I don't believe in free rides here. So we have corporate, we have access to wealth, access to expertise in the wealth markets are opening doors through investment banking and such. And we also have the wisdom. And the wisdom specifically for this is the technology wisdom that Martha Crawford brings and her career in developing renewable solutions at various companies. So again, you want to make sure that you have a board that's first of all competent, but second of all, don't just agree with the management, but challenge them as we go through.
Okay, got it. Sounds like you built a great foundation and you've got a very experienced team. Could you provide a high-level overview of Abundia's mission, strategy, and the key technology?
Yeah, so the Abundia strategy is really waste to value. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to divert waste away from landfills or incineration, and through various upgrading processes, bring them into valuable products such as fuels and chemicals. Um, we see ourselves as project developers, and we see ourselves as the bridge between new technologies and the existing, infrastructure and oil and gas markets. So our validation process is one thing. Does the technology work? And we're happy to say that the technologies we've identified are already commercial and do work. But a great idea is only a great idea if you can actually make it pay for itself. And that's where we spent a lot of our time and effort was making sure that they didn't just work, they would be commercially viable opportunities at the back end, which would drive shareholder value through profits and revenue.
Okay, and then what drove you to the merger with Husa?
So we felt that the time was right. We had spent quite a few years and tens of millions of dollars putting together this pack, de-risking as much as we could, vetting the technologies, making sure that everything was put together properly, building the team, having our industrial partners lined up so that we could execute on what we had done. We believe that the company's well positioned for that right now. All the kind of pre-feasibility and vetting work for the technologies or where it's going to be, what's it going to do is all already done. And we think that Husa was a good vehicle for it. We believe that this opportunity in the renewable space, which is so relevant right now, is a big opportunity, and we can breathe life into Husa and create real shareholder value going forward.
And let's turn over to your technology. What drew you to the Altera licensing partnership?
So, as I identified what I believe were the opportunities, I tasked the technical team in finding the best partners or best technology solutions that we could get our hands on to exploit the opportunities. And in the plastics recycling world, they've added, I'm going to say, at least six. It was natural that Altera would be in the shortlist just because of their technology and how it works. But so we met with Altera, we vetted their technology, we took some fuel, we had the fuel upgraded to make sure that the end products would be saleable, and then we negotiated the license agreement for accessing their technologies in Europe and the US. We believe that, this license is a huge opportunity and a huge asset for the company. We believe that we've put ourselves in a position where, being partners with Altera as what I would call the industry leaders in their technology is a big deal.
Okay, great. And what can you share about the advantages of the technology?
Yeah, so I suppose the advantages of the technology, well, first of all, let's give them credit, right? They've spent many years and tens of millions of dollars developing a technology that's the largest pyrolysis continuous operating plant in the world. So that's one of the main advantages that the risk money as such, the development money, they spent it all, and we've had the benefit of accessing that through a license. The other big advantage for their technology is the simplicity of it. It's a very simple continuous operation. There's no cleaning out of reactors halfway through or none of that. It's a continuous operation, and it takes feedstock with contaminants, and those contaminants simply drop out in the char. So the robustness of it, the simplicity of it, and its ability to handle contaminants make it stand out. But the plant economics and the fact that it's modular means that you can scale to suit the opportunity. If you have a lot of feedstock, you can build a lot of modules. If you have a limited amount of feedstock, you can build one or two modules, but still get good plant economics.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I agree. The modular is really extremely important for the scaling. So I understand that you have that there is an existing plant utilizing the same technology that has become commercial, and that's in Akron, Ohio. What have you learned from the startup of that plant?
So that plant is really, in my opinion, Altera's secret sauce, right? Because you can go see it, touch it, feel it, take fuel, see plastic when and see all the operating data. Because it's continuous and because of the nature of how it has ran over the past year at over 7,000 operational hours, these are big milestones in the technology development. They had really ran in campaign mode up until the year before last, but to turn it continuous and get that real-time data where it's operating, as I say, for over 7,000 hours in a year at 92% uptime, that's real data that you can build your next phase of development on. That plant has produced over 150,000 barrels of oil, which has been sold and processed through the marketplace today. Another massive validation point for the technology that the fuel's going somewhere right now and being bought and transformed into higher grade products. But the other big advantage to that plant is as we go through our development phase, that's the training ground for our plant. We send our people there, learn how to operate an actual operating facility, see how the operations work, see how the control systems work, all those things, and then bring that know-how back to our plant to make sure we have a seamless transition.
Okay, great. It's great to see that track record in Ohio. Could you talk about the feedstocks and what would be the expected products, from your process here?
Yeah, so with regards to the feedstocks, we target the hard to recycle waste plastic. So polyolefins from household waste or from post-industrial source waste. Most of these currently go to landfill or to incineration, and therefore there is no end value for them. What we're doing is we're providing either circularity or at least a high end value product out of a waste that's being disregarded today. Um, with regards to the outputs, the first phase of the output is a pyrolysis oil or a pyro oil. But when I say that, I'm really saying it's a crude. It's a crude alternative to a fossil-based oil. And then through traditional upgrading processes, we can take that crude and make a full suite of renewable products right the way through from lubricants, waxes, chemical feedstock, kerosene diesel for transportation, and of course the holy grail, which is sustainable aviation fuel. So simple waste plastic in, thermal process in the middle with upgrading that brings you the full suite of products.
Okay, and then let's move on to your site acquisition. You have the recent acquisition in July in Baytown, Texas. What appealed to you about that site in Texas?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Peter, I want to say that I'm glad to be at the end of the site selection process. We had targeted the UK first, but with the problems around planning, permitting, and the length of time it takes over there, we had to pivot to the US. And we really like this site. This was one of the last two that we got down to, but it's in one of the largest industrial parks in the US. The infrastructure around it with barge access, rail access, and the road network makes it really, really attractive. But also the utilities to operate the plant are on hand. Wastewater treatment, hydrogen, electric, it's all there with, a road network already there. We see it as it's going to be your US hub. We would like to expand, many plants onto that site. We're building the office block there for the company, the R&D facility for continuous testing and upgrading and making things better. And as I said, it's big enough for future expansion. But the other key with the Houston area is it's the oil and gas capital of the US. And therefore, the skill set and the staff we need to recruit, the talent pool that we need in the service industry already surround the site.
Okay, and then turning over, to your key feedstock suppliers and customers, what would be the implications for them?
So the site fits well with regards to our feedstock supply. We carried out a survey of the Houston area within a 100-mile radius, and there's over 2 million tons of plastic heading for landfill or incineration every year. So we're confident that as we build our reputation and as we turn the plant on, additional feedstock will become available for phase two and phase three. For phase one, we're already oversold. We know we have more feedstock than we need to feed the first plant. So, and of course, with regards to the distribution of that product, the distribution network's already there. There's export terminals or blending facilities nearby, and the infrastructure network is perfect for the project.
Okay, and then, Husa recently announced a partnership with Nexus PMG for the engineering studies. How did this relationship come together, and what is Nexus's background with developing renewable fuels projects like this one?
Yeah, so Abundia and now Husa, of course, has had a quite a long relationship with Nexus. We believe that they are, you know, not just we believe, but the industry tells us, including the infrastructure funds that have used them to get projects to FID, that they're one of the best in the market. I think that the relationship with Nexus is extremely significant for the company. I think that the fact that they have developed recycling projects, advanced recycling projects, sustainable aviation fuel, and all things renewable projects to the tune of excess of $300 billion is a big deal. But from my standpoint, and looking at this from the likelihood of success outcome, having Nexus or hand in hand on this journey with us really increases it. It really stacks the decks in our favor. Um, Having their expertise, their wide range of services. So if we need different services from different areas, they have it. We don't have to go recruiting all the time. We don't have to wonder if we're hiring the right person. For phase one, phase two, these are exactly the partners we need.
Okay, this has been great. We've touched on like a lot of the key aspects here, Ed. But to close, maybe you could share, some of the key upcoming development milestones that investors should be focused on, as you're moving your project forward from here.
Yeah. Well, Peter, I suppose the timing of this transaction and where we are right now, we're at a very, very exciting point for the company. The next phase is breaking ground, completing the engineering design, and appointing EPC to deliver the project. These are all the things that come at the end of a lot of work, right? The work's already been done, the foundation's already been laid, and the money's already been spent essentially to get to this validation point. We believe that the future success and expansion is going to happen in short term, right? Because we have the site selected, we know who our engineering partners are, and as I say, this is the culmination of a lot of work and a lot of dollars spent. The exciting thing about the sector is it's still in its infancy, right? If we'd have been here 5 years ago, we would have been too early. The reality is that it took a while for the market to catch up with the opportunity that the technologies were being developed for, but the market's here right now. It's willing to pay the right amount of money for the product that we make, which makes it even more exciting that we know that the economics stand up. But really and truly, we're just excited for where we are right now.
Okay, excellent. This is a very exciting stuff that we're going to need to wrap it up here for now. Thank you for joining us for today's fireside chat with Ed Gillespie, Husa's CEO. Ed, thank you so much, and congratulations on executing your strategy to date. We'll really be looking forward to following developments at your company very closely and to future conversations with you and your team.
Thank you, Peter. I certainly did enjoy it. Thank you.
For investors who would like to follow our research on energy transition and sustainable investing and other sectors, please access our website, www.watertowerresearch.com. And of course, keep an eye out for a forthcoming write-up of today's fireside chat with HUSA. The views expressed in this fireside chat may not necessarily reflect the views of Water Tower Research, LLC, and are provided for informational purposes only. This fireside chat may not be distributed or reproduced without the written consent of Water Tower Research and should not be considered research nor a recommendation. WTR is an investor engagement firm, not a licensed broker, broker-dealer, market maker, investment bank, underwriter, or investment advisor. Additional disclaimers can be found at watertowerresearch.com. Thank you very much and have a great day.